Amy here and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a review and my thoughts on the new Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Waterproof Concealer. Now this released about a week or so ago and I purchased it online at Sephora.com. I ordered 2 shades and then ended up seeing that it was in a JCPenney Sephora near me and I scooped it up last weekend before my order came in and I went ahead and used it all week and shopped my stash and pretty much made up my mind that I do not like this concealer, and I'm not surprised because I ended up purchasing the foundation and just not liking it. And so I've always kind of had like a I'm not that crazy about Smashbox product mentality. The only thing I absolutely love is the lip liners, the eyeliners, and then I did really like the Smashbox new Lighting Theory palette, but everything else I've kind of been like meh about. And so this is another product that I'm just not crazy about. There's so many other better concealers out there in my opinion. So this is the shade that I got. I picked up the shade Light Neutral. Like I said, I found it in a JCPenney Sephora store near me, so I was able to go ahead and swatch and play with them. I had originally ordered Light Neutral and Light Medium Neutral, I believe, and so I do have those with me, but I haven't touched them. I haven't swatched them. I don't want to open it just to swatch on my hand for this video, the Light Medium Neutral, because I'm going to return them no matter what, and that would just be a waste. So I haven't touched those two, but I did play with this one all week, and I'm just not crazy about it. So like I said, I'm in the shade Light Neutral. Here is what the packaging looks like. It looks like every other Smashbox packaging. It looks very similar to the foundation. So let me go ahead and tell you a little bit of information about it. Like I said, it's available at Sephora right now. It retails for $25 for 1 ounce. So you do get a really nice amount of product in here. 1 ounce for $25. Like, that's awesome. And it comes in a total of 10 or 12 shades, I believe. And like I said, I picked up the shade Light Neutral. And so it says it's an oil-free and waterproof hydrating concealer created in a Smashbox LA photo studio to flawlessly camouflage imperfections and last through a 24-hour shoot. Makeup artists in Smashbox LA photo studio call this concealer a magic wand because it makes any skin imperfection disappear and last all day. Waterproof and moisturizing, the creamy formula blends flawlessly without creasing, caking, or settling into fine lines. It provides medium to full buildable coverage, and its light diffusing spheres blurs imperfections. It's a sweat, humidity, and transfer resistant, so there's no need for midday touch-ups. So those are all the claims that it makes on this new concealer, and I have to say I pretty much disagree with all of them. I don't like the way it blends out whatsoever. I tried it with a brush, I tried it with a beauty blender, and I feel like it just sits on top of my skin and I can see all the little particles of where it still just never perfectly blends in. It's nothing quite like any other concealers that I have that really cover and really blend into the skin and create a nice smooth canvas. Like, it doesn't look good. It looks slightly better once I set it with powder, but then by the end of the day it just kind of starts to disappear and be that same weird texture that was on when I first applied it. So let me go ahead and swatch for you the shade Light Neutral. And as you can see, hopefully, to me it's got much more watery and thin consistency. I don't think it's medium to full coverage whatsoever. I'd say it was light to medium coverage. This is the shade, and then let me swatch it next to the new, well, it's not new. I got a new shade in the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer because I'm much darker right now. So I got the shade Medium Light Neutral. And this is going to be 1 shade darker, but they're both neutral undertones, and I find that with any Smashbox products, including the foundation, that they all tend to have a yellow undertone to them, which is fine. That's nothing wrong and nothing bad with the brand. I prefer a neutral undertone, and really, really yellow undertones don't look as good on me. They become very, very noticeable. And so I find everything with Smashbox turns yellow and oxidizes and turns yellow or has a yellow undertone. So even though these are both neutral undertones, and even though Urban Decay is a darker shade, you can still see there's a significant difference between really neutral and what Smashbox is calling neutral. And so that's ultimately why I did not like the foundation as well. But if you guys can see, I will zoom you up close, how Smashbox, you can see, even though it was 1 swipe on both of these, that my skin is coming through and you see this patchiness right here, whereas it's very opaque and very, very medium to full coverage with Urban Decay. So I don't think it's a medium to full coverage. I'd say it's light to medium. I mean, I can't even get one swatch across without it being kind of see-through and seeing my skin. And you can see how it's starting to dry and oxidize, and to me, that's not really a neutral undertone. and everything is just kind of yellowy orange with Smashbox. But as far as like the actual wear time, I will say it is waterproof. I did test it last weekend with like a bunch of other waterproof stuff that I was doing for a makeup look in the future, but I just like the way it dries, it kind of dries really crepey. I'll try to insert a photo right now. Hopefully it works. I took a bunch of photos the other night when I wore it after like a whole day's of work on my iPhone, so it's not going to be formatted the same exact way, but hopefully you'll be able to see how like one, it starts to disappear, like it kind of dries and like disperses in like a blotchy format, and then it starts to look really cakey and creepy. And also for me, it falls into fine lines and instantly creases within like 5 to 10 minutes. Like I've never had a concealer crease on me before. Like I don't know if I've just been fortunate that I've always researched and bought good concealers like Urban Decay, Too Faced, Tarte. Like I've never had those problems. Even with drugstore, my L'Oreal Invisible Lift, I never have that problem. And this is for once I've actually had the problem where it creased, and like if I moved my skin right there, I was like, oh, that's where the concealer is going and caking up. And so I had this problem instantly. Like I said, I've never had that problem with any other concealers that I love, and so I didn't like that. It falls into fine lines. I see all my fine lines filled up with concealer, and it just dries and oxidizes weird, and it looks crepey. When I say crepey, I mean like it feels like there's like little tiny like pieces like kind of flaking off and like aren't settling into the skin and really seeping in there and blending well. And so I just don't like this concealer. I don't think it's very medium to full coverage. I don't think it covers imperfections. I mean, you can see how the Urban Decay one is so much more opaque. I'll insert a close-up as well, but it's not very opaque. It doesn't cover imperfections. It doesn't conceal other areas very well because I find that it's much more of a liquidy formula. And I will say it's hydrating because to me it seems much more water-based than some of my other concealers and much more liquidy. So I would say it's hydrating, but I don't think it's long wearing. I don't like the color really, or the undertones with this concealer. It oxidizes and it falls into fine lines and creases and everything like that. So the only people I think it's really going to be really nice for is for people that aren't going for coverage. You're not going for covering up dark circles or anything like that. You're pretty much just going for a little bit of brightness underneath. If you have a yellow undertone, if you want some brightness and you like something that's hydrating, you may like this concealer. But if you're like me and you want the coverage to cover up dark circles and make a really nice smooth canvas, and you want a really flawless face, and you want to have a bunch of different undertones that really are the true undertones, then I don't think you're going to like this product, because for me there's a huge difference between these neutral undertones, and I just do not like how this wears whatsoever. But I will say the one claim it says is that it's waterproof. I will give it that. It is waterproof, but I've never had a concealer that creases so much and just does not blend into the skin very well and oxidizes as well. So unfortunately, this is just a total dud for me. I was not impressed. There's so many other concealers I love from the drugstore and high-end much better, including all those concealers I talked about in Battle of the Concealers recently. Love those. To me, those are so much better than this, and I'm definitely going to be returning this. I was not impressed by it, and so unfortunately, Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Waterproof Concealer is a dud and just did not work for me, and I probably would not recommend this to people. There's definitely a lot of other concealers out there that are much, much better than this, and even including waterproof concealers as well, if that was your concern. Estee Lauder has waterproof concealers that are great, and Tarte has waterproof concealers that are great. So to me, that's not like enough, like, ooh, I want a waterproof concealer because of summer to get this concealer. I would kind of stay away from this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of the new Smashbox Waterproof Concealer and found it helpful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you can stay tuned to all my upcoming videos. And I will see you guys very soon. Bye!